Today, we mark a massive milestone in the nation's political landscape. Exactly 1,095 days since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took the oath of office, 3 full years in the saddle. The administration campaigned on a bold promise of renewed hope. But as we hit the 3-year mark today, many Nigerians are asking a much staker question. Is it renewed hope or deepening hopelessness? From the crippling weight of economic reforms to the cries of hunger echoing across the country, the reality on the ground for regular citizens feels worlds away from the opulent lifestyle being displayed by president's appointee, close associates, and even the president's own family. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, massive questions are being raised about multi-trillion naira legacy contracts handed to single contractors, a shrinking space for political opposition, and unprecedented executive grip on the legislature and the judiciary. Is this governance for all Nigerians or simply a masterclass in political survival and domination? To break down the data, the promises, and the harsh reality of this past 3 years, we are joined in, of course, virtually, Barrister Van Sufeli and Emeka Matunago. But just before we get to talking to them, I have an illustration here which depicts exactly what we are going to talk about for Nigerians and those in the diaspora who might not have a clear picture of where we have seen ourselves in the country. Let's watch and listen to this illustration for a bit.
Mr. President, sir, emergency. What is it again? Another senator change party? No, sir. Bandits attacked a school last night. So what are we doing to contain the situation? Have we condemned the attack yet? Yes, sir. We have condemned it 2 times, sir. Condemn it for the 3rd time. This time in the strongest of terms. Yes, sir.
2 hours later.
What is it again? Sir, the parents of the kidnapped children have taken to the streets in protest, and social media is dragging both the presidency and the armed forces non-stop. You already know how this works. Stop rushing in here like the world is ending. Public anger in this country expires after 1 week, then everybody moves on. Just tell them whatever will calm them down for now. Launch Operation Chicken Feet and announce that we are actively pursuing the bandits. 24 hours later, the police should create Operation Goat Meat and make the pursuit look serious.
2 hours later.
Sir, emergency. What happened? Another attack? No, sir. Somebody just insulted the president on Twitter. What? This cannot be tolerated. Find him now.
2 hours later.
Sir, the situation is now under control. We deployed the full strength of the armed forces against the man on Twitter who insulted the president. The military, the air force, and the navy were all deployed. We tracked his location and he is now in our custody. Good job. Indiscipline cannot be tolerated. Absolutely, sir. Not at Mr. President, sir.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a comical illustration of where we have found ourselves, especially with leaders and especially with the president we have today in Nigeria. I have with me yet again Ambassador Van Sufeli and Emeka Matunago. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. Truly do appreciate you.
It's my pleasure.
Beautiful. All right, I'd love to start with you, Barrister Van Sufeli. Right there is that illustration. Maybe let's do an inverted.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Emeka. So let's do an inverted pyramid, and maybe start with this illustrated comical skit on what we have, especially with security, responsibility of those who are leading the country, and many other issues. Barrister, what's your take?
Well, the illustration, the comic illustration of the Nigerian situation is unfortunate. And that really depicts what happens in government. Because for the longest, we have seen consistent attacks. And the only thing our government does is to condemn it. I called out the National Security Advisor some time ago to ask for what his job is and what he's doing exactly. And what report does he really present to the presidency? And what is the security strategy of that office? And no answer till today. Okay, so 3 years down the line, it does not look like Nigeria even have a government. Okay, 3 years ago, when he took office, from that day till now, we have been on the run. Is either you are running out of the country, or you are running from pillar to post, or you just have to be running. There's always something chasing you up and down since he became president. And in the mix of all this, he keeps making more promises. He keeps saying that people need to make more sacrifices. People need to cut their belt down. People need to do this, do that. It's just about the people, the people, the people, the people. The leaders themselves, they are living in opulence. The last time we came to Lagos, whilst I was in Lagos, the whole place was blocked. I was told that he came to Lagos again for the Yuletide period, and same story. So, when exactly is this government going to respond to the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians and curb insecurity? When? When will be that day? That's the question. You see, uh, the 3 years is actually enough to address one issue. But as we speak now, in 3 years, they have not been able to address the economy, they have not been able to address insecurity, not able to address public health care, not able to address cost of living, which is tied to the economy. Okay, not able to address infrastructure, public infrastructure. So, what exactly can this president be picked for in the last 3 years? Nothing. Okay, and the one before him was like him too. Okay, that one also didn't do anything significant for 8 years. So imagine running on this kind of 11 years of non-performance, when you have a child that is not performing for 11 years academically, you'll be advised to withdraw. So Nigerians should put the right stuff here. Advise this president to withdraw. Advise this president to withdraw. That is the only solution as we speak. He's asking for more 5 years to put Nigeria on track when he couldn't put Nigeria on track for 11 years, because in that 11 years he was the leader of the party in power, and then a close ally to Buhari, and they both failed. He became president, he still failed, and is now asking for 5 more years again. How many years do we really have to live that we have to extend those number of years in squalor? This is the $1 billion question.
Very well said. Emeka Madunago, the Vanguard newspaper had a very beautiful editorial this morning. I read through it over and over. It was a wonderful, wonderful piece. And it was titled, "Who Will Tell the President the Truth?" Unlike lots of legacy media outlets, especially the print, Vanguard went out of the curve to really speak the truth to authority. Do we see a reawakening of the media in Nigeria? Emeka, are you there? Hello, Emeka, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, Emeka, can you hear me?
I didn't get your question.
Yes, my question is, I do not know if you went through the editorial as made, published by Vanguard newspaper.
I didn't get your question.
Yes, the question is, did you go through the editorial as published by the Vanguard newspaper? It was titled, "Who Will Tell the President the Truth?" Do you see a reawakening of the media in Nigeria on speaking truth to authority?
Well, I think the issue
Emeka, your network is actually quite bad. Maybe you should log out and log in again. Let's see if that will correct. We can hardly hear you.
It may not be so far-fetched, plays role as a watchdog. Is it better now?
Yes, it's okay now.
Is it better?
Yes, it's fine. It's fine
Hello?
now. Yeah, it's fine.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
What I'm saying is that the media and civil society must continue to play their roles. Their prime role of, as watchdogs of the society. To hold the government accountable, to hold the government's feet to the fire. Yes, it was surprising that Vanguard, did that editorial, because in recent times, people have expressed reservations about, some of the the slant of the media regarding stories about government and all of that, So in writing such an editorial, perhaps, they have been personally affected one way or the other. And they can now see that, look, it is not about, praising the president and saying, be patient with him. The fact of the matter is that the man is medically unfit. You saw it in Lagos now when, you could see the people who are making gestures to the channel's TV reporter, to not to ask any other question. You saw how, he put a question upside down, what exactly is going on are you doing in terms of terrorism? And he turned it into something else. So that tells you that there's a dissonance. That there's a dissonance from reality, between his own reality and the reality on the ground. Now, the editorial saying, who will tell the president the truth? Well, he has enough people around him, but those ones are just barely interested in, enjoying the grandeur of office. They are not interested in the interest of the, and it's sad. It's sad. It shows, that this kind of administration, that there's a lot, to be desired. Yes, the media is in the interest of the media to remain alert. If they lose guard, of course, they're the ones who will suffer because they have to pay salaries every month. They have to pay for overheads. They have to, whatever you do, it's not as if the consequences will be distant from the actions. So actions have consequences. And everybody must realize that. For those supporting the government saying, no, it's not his fault. Is the commander-in-chief, but is it the minister of defense? I just tell them, I said, I think you are still having enough to eat. You are not affected by the insurgency. You've not had to go and sell your house, put up your house on distress sale to pay ransom. You've not had to, go through some difficult times. And I warn people, I said, listen, while you're supporting this government, make sure you have arrangements to respond to an emergency. In case you have an emergency, now many hospitals don't have equipment, there's no power supply, they don't even have qualified doctors. Many of them have young doctors. The older qualified doctors have, left the country. Okay. They relocated. So when you are making your support, make sure you have certain things in place as a buffer. Okay. So that you don't end up like the man who was crying recently that he sold his house and he's got nothing in return. Thank you.
All right. Barrister, let's cut the president some slack here. Let's just pretend to cut the president some slack here. And he actually bought over almost all the front covers of the newspapers today with an artwork that is there. It's written, Promises Delivered, Renewed Hope Agenda. Amongst it is 8 things he said he had delivered on Nigerians. And I'd love to read some of them out here. And number 1 says, enhance infrastructure and transportation as enabler of growth. The big question is, which transport are we talking about here, Barrister? Have we gotten so used to those in power telling us things that are unverifiable? When have we gotten to this level?
It's only Tinubu that knows. It's only Tinubu that can see his achievement. It's only him and his APC cohorts that can see his achievement. The average Nigerian cannot see any achievement. You can imagine the insult now, saying enhance transportation and what? Which transportation? Is it transportation that will now have to pay more heavily and then run into insecurity, being kidnapped? People are being kidnapped from schools. Teachers are being beheaded. Is that the enhanced transportation you're talking about? Or which one? That you can no longer travel by road. You cannot travel by air because the airfare is too expensive. You cannot go by road because of the insecurity. Then you are locked where you are. You are not able to feed where you are. You are not able to get medicals where you are. The public infrastructure is not, the roads are impassable where you are. So what is the improvement transportation is talking about? You see, these are the kind of things that cause uprising in some very serious uh, jurisdictions. When the leaders come out to lie like this in the public glare, and they're lying and they are look like they are mocking us. How can you make that kind of statement? When did you enhance the transport to where? The CNG buses that the government promised that they are going to deliver. Where are the CNG buses? Is that not supposed to represent the enhanced transportation? Okay. The road that he promised that he was going to fix across the country. Where are the roads? Okay. And then other promises that he made that we're going to have power supply by all means necessary. That's the phrase he used. That by all means necessary, you have power supply. And if we don't have power supply, if you're not voting in the second time. Is that the enhanced what he's talking about? So I think this man just came to fool himself and his followers with this celebration. They are even celebrating it. Eh? What exactly are you celebrating? Celebrating what does not exist? Or what exactly are we talking about here? We're saying that
Barrister,
this government.
amongst the things they are celebrating, one of them is, because we have it here, one of them is education. And when we talk about education, the pivotal thing they keep talking about is NEL fund, that Nigerian undergraduates have access to loans now. So anyone who wants to read medicine, pharmacy, engineering, law can get loans and read whatever it is they want to do without family support of any kind. So don't you think that is in itself an achievement?
No, 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 no. Me and you know that. Me and you went to university for crisis. And we know that education is beyond tuition. Now you address tuition and maybe 10% of the people got it. It's not an achievement. It's not an achievement. Education is supposed to be in place. It's not an achievement. How about the lecturers? How are they faring? How about the school, the facilities in the school? Is it because but people get loan to pay tuition and then they go stand in classes to take lectures? And people are hanging on the window, hanging on the trees, and they are taking lectures. Is that the achievement? Go across federal universities in Nigeria and see what is going on there. Okay, that many of our students have turned to internet fraudster in our campuses across the country. What's the government doing about that? What does the government address in terms of research? Where is the investment on research? Okay, which is actually the backbone of the tertiary institution research. Okay, where is it? So, I mean, for those in sciences and all that, where are the achievements? Which standard university do you have in Nigeria, including even private one? Which one is of international standard, where you can send your child to, and the rest are sure that the child can compete anywhere in the world? Which of them? Okay, I think we should be mourning after 3 years because since this man got into power, our lives have not been the same. You understand? It's like the day he took an oath of office, the spell was cast on his leadership. And since that day, we have been running. I've not rested for the past 3 years. I've not rested for the past 3 years. So, I mean, today is the day to take a good audit into our frustration. The frustration that the leadership of Nigeria has forced on us, okay, is today we are supposed to take audit of it and review it and see if we're able to survive it and see how we can change the narrative as quickly as possible. That is what today should be about. It's not about celebrating any 3 years of milestone, whatever. I've not seen any milestone. Maybe there are people, maybe I'm not assessing the situation properly. Maybe there are people who, in their areas, they're having light 24 hours, they have roads in their areas, they have security in their areas. Maybe there are people who will dissent as to what I'm saying. But as for me, I have not seen what should be celebrated in the last 3 years of this administration. I've not seen.
Emeka, in the course of this show, while I was trying to prepare for it, I tried my possible best to see if I could sit right in the middle. You know, maybe a little bit in support of the president and what he has done. But with this 8 agenda that he has published on almost every newspaper. I am finding it extremely difficult to see anything that is worthy enough to support. And one of them says, strengthening national security for peace and prosperity. That is the promise he said he had delivered to Nigerians. Emeka, when do you think Nigerians will start taking responsibility in their own hands and demanding for real change? Is it ever possible with the type of politics, the transactional politics that our president had made possible today in Nigeria? Emeka, are you there? All right, so I'll wait for Emeka to possibly rejoin. A barrister, you can take on that particular question, just like I did say. I was finding it difficult to support the president, but you can't find anything to support him with. So how do we help ourselves at this point when there is nothing to support the president, even when you have the opportunity of doing that?
You support what you know and support what can be proven. Okay? If you decide that you want to support the president, because as an anchor, you are supposed to be objective and
Yes.
neutral. But what is do you have proof? Is there anything that you can hold on to say, no, your analysis is one-sided. The president have done this, he has done that, he has done that. Which are these things you can read? You can't read. There's nothing to read. So even for the people who are even defending this government, it's even a tough job for them, and I don't envy them. The lack of Daniel Bola and Femi Faneka and the Reno Mokri and the rest of them who are supporting this government, I really, really, really do not envy them at all, because it's a tough thing to do, to support what does not exist and then to defend what is not in place, to defend the seat. How long are you going to defend the seat? You know, infrastructure is not a ghost item. Okay, performance. Okay, if I look at the living condition of people, I can evaluate performance from there. I can give a feedback by the level of medical care I see. I can give a feedback if I see that children can go to school freely and return home in equal measure. Then I can say, okay, there's some level of impact, government impact. In the case of that reference, there's no impact whatsoever. No impact. I mean, insecurity is gradually moving to the southwest. Okay. And we are looking at it, we are being enveloped gradually by insecurity. Okay. How is that an achievement? How would the president say that there's improved whatsoever in Nigeria? There's no improve anything. Okay. We are just wobbling in the same squalor, in the same problem for the past 3 years. It has even escalated because the current president cannot handle it. He has no strategy. He has no any reasonable plan. They asked him about insecurity just 2 days ago. Insecurity in Oyo, the kidnap and all that. They turned the question to something else. I don't know what he's saying. I couldn't pick anything. I'm not sure I understood even the beginning, the mid, or the end. He turned it to, because he doesn't also know what he's saying. He does not also know what the solutions are. The service chiefs are there, submitting reports every day. The problems still persist. The bandits are calling people on phone, showing their hideouts and their armor. Nobody's able to get them and prosecute them. But innocent citizens that criticize the government are arrested swiftly and prosecuted immediately. So this is the problem we face. So today, if you're talking about how to address the multitude of problems that this government has brought Nigeria in, and then talk about how the country can vote them out, because just the few party members in government cannot be bigger than the entire country. Okay? So the entire country can come together and then put them out. Put them out so that we can get a serious government that can think, a government that can perform, a government that can address crisis, and a government that is result oriented. That way, we can find some ray of hope.
Beautiful. Emeka, are you there with me? Can you hear me? Emeka, can you hear me? All right, so I'll wait for Emeka to reconnect. Barrister, yet again, what you are invariably saying is at no point should Nigerians at least say this is one thing, this is just one among so many, just one thing that you think we might say he had done in the last 3 years. For example, let's take a fuel, for example. When it was subsidized many years ago, at the time we usually would see fuel queues around major gas stations in the country. But now it is expensive, but we do not have queues any longer. Don't you think the availability of products, even if it's expensive, it's a way out of rather having it subsidized and we would not see the products at all?
So what is going on in the availability has nothing to do with the president's performance. Because in those days, what we used to have lack was because we were solely import dependent. They every drop of fuel or oil that you get in Nigeria then was imported. Okay. Today you have a local refinery. You have a Dangote refinery, which is powered by an individual and which have a huge capacity to offtake even the entire crude that we have. But he has to even go and buy crude from outside. Okay. And he's made it available. It is because of privatization, that privatization process, okay, uh, which is not the achievement of this government. I mean, Dangote refinery, well, took 12 years to build. Okay, so it's not just the issue we are talking about right now. It's about the fact that this government instead cannot have you talk about NEPO and then you talk maybe the coastal road. Okay, so if you benchmark those two projects, first the coastal road did not even go through the normal process of award of contract. Okay, didn't go through the normal process. But if you put the two of them, benchmark it with the loan that this government have sourced in the last 3 years, and put those two projects together, then do a rough calculation. Okay, so you'll be asking yourself the monies that is saved from subsidy, okay, that is said they're going to use to improve on transportation and the economy. Where's the money going to? Okay, the loan, heavy loans that has been taken all the time, where are they taking it to? Okay, sharing to governors and plunging into politics to return. Okay, you just want to be president. You don't care about the future of the citizens. You don't care about the fact that the loan taking is becoming too much and may lead us to problem. You are just taking loan upon loan and then playing politics with the resources of the country, and you expect everybody to be okay and applaud you uh, when you want to show a scorecard 3 years. Those who I'm going to watch keenly to hear more analysis on this subject matter because I know that the subject matter is a trendy one. And then those who support the president, who say he has done, I want to see their indices. I want to see their analysis from all fronts. Because look at Nigeria, the misery index is now something else. Okay. Survival is not even guaranteed any longer. Okay. And there's widespread poverty, insecurity, sicknesses and diseases, no public health, and nothing. You can't pick this government for anything. So we can't say this enough. It's high time this government is booted out. It has stayed longer than necessary, and they are imagination or their strategy or whatever it is they are putting in place should not overshadow the larger population of Nigerians. Nigerians should be able to, by their strength and number, take down the government, whether INEC like it or not, whether the party like it or not. There must be a change of government.
That Emeka has just left the group right now, and I hope it's because of the network challenge that he had. But let's still continue on the program. Barrister, let's take a look at Nigeria's external reserve. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had been able to grow our external reserve to an awesome size. As against what we had during Muhammad Buhari. Don't you think that on itself is enough to maybe give him a little bit of his flowers?
External reserve was grown from what to what. I mean, let's look at the figures. From what to what figures, I know that Buhari depleted it completely. Jonathan left something, Buhari depleted it. And one day you borrowings and all that. What has Tinubu revived it to? Okay, external reserve, which is actually important because it's a benchmark to the economy and it's like a lifeline, the sustainability of our sovereignty. Okay, but from what to what? Because when you see the way this government has patterned governance ever since it came into power, it has not really improved on anything. Really and truly. You can't say because of Lagos, Lagos, the coastal area. Therefore, transport has been enhanced, improved. Just one road that does not really have economic value as much as the ones in strategic areas that are in bad state that could have been renovated, reconstructed. Okay, so I don't know the figures in the external reserve and what he has built it up for. But I know that the government have not done well on foreign policy. Our Nigerians have been killed and been chased away in South Africa. What is the statement of what has the government done about it until now? Okay. The Femi Falana that called for Femi SN did a petition against the government of South Africa. Okay, that's a private citizen. What has the government done about, Nigerians who are all over the world who are being chased out of their domain? I just saw a letter from Cambodia where there's an order or a policy that people should leave the place, and Nigerians are there. Okay, what are the efforts that this government have put in place to show on the level of diplomacy and international policy? You can't really find. It took almost these 3 years before he appointed the ambassadors. Okay, almost these 3 years. This whole time he has been in power. He just appointed them few months ago. Many of them have not even resumed up until now. So, what exactly is the achievement at that level, at the international front? Because I'm looking at.
We lost a barrister right there. I would love to believe he would rejoin back and would speak into the issue of the third year of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office, looking at the pros, the cons. He started it with the slogan, renewed hope. And the big question is, to Nigerians, would we say this is renewed hope or renewed hopelessness? 3 years today makes it 1,095 days of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office. The big question again is, do you think Nigerians are being hasty in judging him, or should we still allow him some opportunity to do better? I have Barrister Vance Ofeli who joins me virtually. Barrister, are you back with us? So while we dig deeper on that, I think it's quite important that we note this, that when President Muhammad Buhari took office in mid-2015, Nigeria's total external debt stood at 10.32 billion US dollars. Prior to that, in 2007, before Buhari but after the massive Paris Club debt relief of 2005, the country's external debt was roughly 3.3 billion US dollars. Barrister, are you here with us?
Yes.
Yes. So I was trying to make known some of the data that we have. Our debt before now we had about 10.32 billion US dollars. Today we have 2 times of that debt owed to different organizations, to the World Bank and many others. Is there a way out of all of this, Barrister? The people running the government have said that borrowing is not leprosy. So how do we draw the connect at this point?
Remember, we doubled it. We doubled it in less than 3 years. We doubled the figure that was the debt before this government came into power. Okay, we doubled it in less than 3 years. Okay, we're saying that Buhari was borrowing too much. Tinubu's own, you can't even put your mouth there because it's just like every week, every Eke market day, it's taking loan, it's taking loan. The National Assembly is on standby, approving everything without oversight, without analyzing it, without even debating it. There's no debate on it in the House. Unlike when Saraki was made president, where the president brings a letter for whatever they, in fact, plenary, both houses will sit and they will debate it and take a decision. This one is not debated. The only thing that the Senate president does is just to read it to plenary and then ask for aye or nay and they approve. That's it. So that kind of democracy is not the one that will promote development. It will only favor the few. Okay, so that's exactly what it is. When he came in and a few weeks into his inauguration, he came up with a supplementary budget. And that supplementary budget had a lot of orishirishi in it. Pardon my expression, where we talk about cars for the president's wife, where they have to buy yachts, they have to buy uh, an Escalade, they have to, the moment I saw that, I knew that we are in for a long story because the president, now when he came to Lagos for the first time after, we saw the number of SUVs, we saw the profligacy, the flamboyant opulence that the president displayed under an economy that people are living less than $1 per day, under a country that is the poverty capital of the world. Okay, so this government's priority is just for the elite, it's for themselves. The people have nothing in the government. And that's what I'm saying repeatedly. That if you run a country like that, you will continue to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. And now you are the poverty has gone even beyond because the middle class have been eroded. Small businesses are all closing down. And people don't even have the disposable income to patronize small scale businesses across the country. So it puts a pressure on everyone. People don't have the means. The hoteliers now are crying. I have a friend who owns a hotel, and he told me he spends 1.2 million naira every day on business. Every day to power his hotel. 1.2 million. And that's a sizable hotel. More like a 4-star hotel. Those who operate bigger facilities, okay, many of them spend as much as 4 million, 5 million naira every day on this. That money could have been plunged into improving their businesses if you have power supply. And then you have constant electricity, okay, which is not rocket science. And constant electricity is possible. All over the world, people have achieved it, even in Africa, even in Ghana, Benin Republic here. There's constant power supply. and we are the ones supplying it. Okay, and we don't have it. We cannot do business because of people cannot afford. Come to other issues. You ask yourself, why is the government not being able to keep uh, make an enabling environment? Government cannot employ everybody, we know that, but government is a stabilizer. Government creates an atmosphere that allows business to thrive, and in return, they collect tax. Okay, yeah, the government is not doing anything to make an enabling environment. Yet, is amending tax laws and making four different laws on how to tax the poor, and it has started that unrestrained, still collecting from the people the money they don't have. Someone said that he has an account where, because he could not pull this, pull that, the account are being minus. And from that minus, the minus is increasing by the day. So the day he put money there, all the money that are accumulated will be taken away immediately. So while you are in debt and poverty, they are still taxing you. There's no rebate, there's no social support system. Unlike when you are bankrupt abroad, you go and register in a food bank, they give you food. You register in a clothes bank, they clothe you. You don't have accommodation, you go and apply for a government enhanced facility accommodation. They get you an accommodation, okay, temporarily, then put you under certain kind of stipends for 6 months until your condition improves. When your condition improves, you get a job, then you exit the shelter, then people who are in that condition where you were before take over occupants of the shelter. In 6 months, they get you something, you exit and all that. So that way, you reduce the social vices that would have engulfed that society. So the society will not need to go and budget huge amount of money for defense. Society will not need to go and huge amount of money for defense because of criminality, because it has taken economic measures to address people's needs. The Boko Haram you see today that is all over the place is poverty. It started from poverty. They have money, they are rich. Why are they kidnapping people and asking for ransom? So you say no, 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 it's religious. They are saying education, Western education it's not. It's poverty. They are seeing how the elites are living, and then and also part of this elite are the ones also creating the urgency to ensure that the money they get from government to address the crime is keep coming. It's $1 million business. Okay. So the insurgent part is multifaceted. There are so many different vast interests in it. And you see how our relationship with America is being fractured by the insecurity. Because America made a statement, said that this is what is going on. If the hand of the government is in it, how does the government intend to end what it supports?
All right, so just before we get into the solution and the way forward, Barrister, you talked about the place of the executive. You equally talked about the place of the legislature that had contributed to the quagmire that we have today. Now, let's talk about the judiciary. How much of play do you think the judiciary had done in the last 1,095 days to making all of this that we experience today possible? What is the way forward? What do you think the judiciary would do to help make life better with regards to playing their role, their constitutional role?
Well, what the judiciary can do is to continue in its, constitutional duty, and that's to resolve disputes as predicated under Section 6 of the 1999 Constitution. And to be fair to all, okay, to deliver justice without fear and fail, to exterminate corruption in the judiciary. Because where there's no justice, you cannot have a viable economy, you cannot have a foreign direct investment where there's no justice, where you don't have a system that guarantees fair play and justice. It will be difficult. But investors will look at all sectors before investing. Sectorially, they are looking at the size of the economy, which is the attraction, the population. and then they look at the existing laws, ease of doing business. Okay, then they look at the judiciary in the event that they have a dispute between their company or an outsider whatsoever. How is the judiciary of the country? Are they fair? Or do we need to know somebody as a company and all that? If the judiciary is constituted in such a way that fairness is not upheld, then you find that as a problem, and it will hinder foreign direct investment. So the judiciary should continue its duty. Now, as for the solution to the country, it's too late to say Tinubu do this, APC do this, do that. They should not do anything again. They should not do anything. The solution is Nigerians should vote them out. That's the solution. He's saying
Nigerians,
we should give him 5 years again, as though he has the capacity to deliver anything. My advice is that Nigerians should vote the APC government out of that place. We don't have, for 3 years, they turned our lives upside down. If you know what it takes to build a life, if you know what it takes to get to particular the level you are, or if you know what it takes to invest and then come up with a particular level, and somebody comes with policies that are now reduce you to a poor man, having struggled all the years to grow a life, and you get to a point, somebody comes with policies and then pull everything down, and the person is telling you to give him another 5 years. That 5 years is for him to dig the ground and put you there better. That's exactly what he's talking about. So the solution is to vote them out of that place. They have no capacity. They will not have capacity even if they are there for the next 5 years, and they will not deliver.
Barrister, it's often said that if it's not broken, don't fix it. So is it okay for us to unanimously agree that the system is broken? The man on the reference here is broken, and therefore we should fix it. So fixing it means necessarily removing it, or maybe fixing it while we see what comes out of the fixing.
It does not matter what we believe, whether we are unanimously believing or not. It does not matter what we believe, or generally or collectively believing. To fix it when it's broken, or to remove it. In this particular case, it's not in every case that you fix what is broken. There are certain things that when they are broken, you take them out, take them away. First, because they are too fragile to break in the first place. And now that they are broken, you take them away. Look at the president's answer to the question on insecurity. That alone will give you an idea as to what you should do, whether you can fix the president's incongruous, incoherent, and clueless answer to the problem of the country. His answer just 2 days ago is enough to let you know that, do you want to fix this, or you want to set it aside? You understand? Nigerians will decide whether that level is fixable or it should be replaced. They should do that with their plans.
All right, that is our say for today. 1,095 days already spent. We have 1 more year to go, and that will rest the case for his 1 term in office. The big question again is, will the Nigerians decide to do the thing they ought to do? It's left for us as Nigerians to decide. Remember, 2027 is right about the corner. The PVC is your password to making that possible. Our duty here as people in the media is to let you know what is happening, so you would be left with the choice to do the decision. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for your time. Truly do appreciate you.
My pleasure.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right, so that's our take for today. And let's see what happens. Of course, it's our responsibility to keep bringing them to you as they unfold. Please do well to visit us. You can find us at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike, and I'll see you on another one. Bye-bye.